Hello, Malone University. Welcome to Inside the Competition, our special NCAA Tournament Bracket Show. I am Chase Gerber here with Seth Bird and special guest star Brooks Anderson here. We're going to go region by region for you, break everything down for you, our picks, our sleepers, everything. So, as we said before, we are in the Midwest region here to begin, and the big story with this region is Kentucky, undefeated in the regular season, probably the best bet to win the NCAA tournament. So, they seem like to be the juggernaut going into this tournament. But looking at their region so far, Seth, would you say there's any team in this region that can knock off Kentucky?
I like the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, ACC champs. They beat Duke this weekend in the ACC semifinals. Duran Grant's a great player. They showed why they could be a very good team, especially the way they play defense. So I like the Fighting Irish to be able to be the Kentucky Wildcats, but I don't personally think that's going to happen, though.
Right. They've been such a juggernaut this season. They've had a few close battles in the SEC, but really no team has seemed to be able to crack their armor. Brooks, we know you're a big Maryland fan. There's a potential matchup between Kentucky and Maryland in the Sweet 16. Do you think Maryland has any chance of knocking off Kentucky?
I definitely see Maryland getting to the Sweet 16 in a battle with Kentucky. As much as I love my guys over in College Park, I do not see them getting past Kentucky. They're just too big, too strong. We've got a young team. I just don't think Maryland's going to be able to have the firepower to get past them.
Right, yeah. I totally agree with both of you guys. I think Notre Dame, if anyone, is probably the team to beat them, but I don't see them being beat by anyone before the Final Four personally. Let's talk a little bit about sleepers and kind of upsets. I know a lot of people, including myself, think Kansas at the 2 seed is very vulnerable to an early round exit. Personally, probably at Wichita State. What do you think, Seth? Do you think that could happen at all?
Oh, definitely. The guard play of Ron Baker and Van Vliet are excellent guards. They've proven it, and they want to really show that they're actually a really legitimate team after getting a 1 seed last year, falling to Kentucky, the eventual national runners-up. They want to show they're for real. What better way to do it to the team that doesn't even want to play them every year, and they're very successful. Kansas has specifically denied them the right of playing them in the regular season, so now they get the game. Hopefully they always wanted to show that they're for real, especially their neighbors and in-state rivals.
Right. And speaking about other sleepers, too, I think Texas could really be a surprise here. They're an 11 seed. With the Big 12, they either seemed like they got a really high seed or they got dropped down a bunch, and Texas is one of those teams. I think they could really be a surprise here. I think they could make a run deep into the tournament, but we'll just have to see. Brooks, what are you thinking about sleepers in this Midwest bracket here?
If I had to pick one, I think, I don't know, with just the vulnerability of the rest of the bracket besides Kentucky, I'm looking at teams that have good success stories, such as a possible Valparaiso, such as maybe we see New Mexico State has had a good run in the past. They've historically been good in this tournament. Kansas, we know, is shaky. Many people question whether they're a 2 seed. We've seen 15 seeds knock off 2 seeds before, so, it's not out of the question. I'm looking at possible Texas, as you said before, against Butler. So there's this region is very vulnerable for upsets.
Right, and one matchup we haven't touched on yet, West Virginia and Buffalo. I know ESPN ran a special. The 12 seed is the most likely to pull off an upset in the first round of the tournament. Well, second round now, forgetting the play-in. But I think Buffalo, looking at the 5-12 matchups this year, I think Buffalo, I'm picking them to beat West Virginia right off the bat. They're coached by Bobby Hurley. I just think West Virginia is a weaker 5 seed, and I think Buffalo is going to do it. What do you guys think about that?
I personally don't think so, because West Virginia is a very good team, very good pressure team, a good, well-coached Bob Huggins team, a typical Bob Huggins team. That they beat Kansas. They have definitely potential to knock off Buffalo and Maryland and play Kentucky very well, but I don't really see it. But Buffalo would be a good story, though.
Right. I know, I guess we were going to disagree on that one. I see Buffalo kind of taking off that first round upset, but I guess we're going to have to see here. Real quickly, before we wrap up this region, who you guys got coming out of the Midwest into the Final Four?
I got Kentucky hands down. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to take them. I have them facing Notre Dame in the Elite Eight, but I have them breezing through this pretty easily.
Right. Seth, what about you?
I'll totally agree with that. I definitely have Kentucky by far. Cauley-Stein and Towns are very good inside, and definitely a deep team with Booker and Trey Lyles. They're definitely very tough, and Notre Dame will be the team that they'll play. but it'll be too much speed and quickness and power as we've seen all year from the Kentucky Wildcats.
Right, and I'm going to have to agree with you. I mean, Kentucky, they've been doing it all year. The close games, they're pulling them out. They're 34-0. I don't see anyone beating them until the Final Four, but then we'll get to that later when we pick our Final Fours. But for us three so far, the Midwest region, we have Kentucky going on to the Final Four, all three of us. So tune in to our next webisode to see how we deal with the other regions, and thank you for joining us.